I think that when you're doing well and you're doing everything you can do and you're kicking ass and you're doing the best that you can do and you're on day 1 or day 20 or day 30 of your journey and you're comparing and you've been doing everything that you can do and you're comparing yourself to someone who's been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years, yeah, that's going to take away your joy, okay? Now, if you compare yourself to, let's say, somebody who's been doing it the same amount of time and they're beating your ass, and then you just look in the mirror and say, well, it's okay, I shouldn't compare myself, you're gonna fucking lose. So there's nuance to every saying. And you know, everybody on the internet likes to hear these sayings and then attach a permanent meaning to them. And that's just not the way it works, dude. There's nuance, there's exceptions. And it's a lot like luck, right? Like, I don't ever talk about luck. And the reason I don't talk about luck is because the minute I talk about luck, all the fucking weak-minded pussies say, see, I'm not lucky. And they use it as an excuse the rest of their life. What they don't understand is that, yes, there are breaks that you get, but those breaks come whenever you're prepared, okay? So when you work hard and you execute and you're doing that day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out for a long period of time, absolutely there's gonna be things that go your way. And people are gonna say, oh, look at that luck. And then they use that as an excuse and say, well, that guy's made it because he got that lucky break, not even considering the 20 years or 10 years or 5 years that he put in to get to that point. Right. All right, so this is the same kind of saying. All these fucking gurus on the internet like to say comparison is the thief of joy. Just be happy where you're at. Well, if that's the case, bro, be happy with your little fucking McDonald's cheeseburger fucking Happy Meal and your shitty life, living in your fucking basement, and never compare yourself to anyone and think you're okay. If you want to do that and you can live in ignorance and you can be happy doing that, by all means, do it. But that's not what we're about here. We're about fucking winning. We're about being the best. We're about executing at a high level. And to execute at a high level, it is a very useful thing to look at people who are on the same path as you and compare yourself. That is reality. If that guy's running a 4.5 40 and I'm a wide receiver and I'm running a 4.6, guess what? I got to get fucking faster, okay? This is the reality of competition. So there is truth to it. You don't want to compare yourself to someone who's outside the realm or outside the brackets of reasonable comparison, right? Like if I am to compare myself, with Jeff Bezos, I'm going to constantly feel like I'm a piece of shit, right? Because Bezos has been as successful as he has been. But if I compare myself to people in my industry who've chosen the path that I've chosen, I can look at it objectively and say, okay, well, you're doing pretty fucking good, okay? Now, eventually, when you get to the top of that game, you have to start comparing yourself to the outside people who are outside the realm of whatever it is you do, because you want to break free of the mold that's been created in the space that you're in. So like when I compare myself, I don't compare myself to people in my space anymore. I compare myself to fucking Phil Knight. And yeah, that's frustrating for me. But frustrating drives ambition, which drives big action, which drives big results. So when I look at things and I get frustrated, I don't act like a little bitch and say, I'm so discouraged. I say, fuck, all right, well, that guy's badass. I'm gonna have to get a lot better. And that's the attitude of a winner. Winners will compare themselves and look at it and be honest with themselves and say, I gotta get better here, 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 here. Losers will look at people and compare themselves and be like, oh, fuck, I'm just a loser. And dude, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you think like that, you're always gonna be a loser. I think it's hard for people to consider the amount of work, the amount of dedication, the amount of struggle, the amount of pain, the amount of frustration that has occurred to get people where they are when they haven't even gone down the path at all, right? Like you look at people, when you're on day one and you're standing at the bottom of the mountain and you're looking up at Mount Everest and there's some motherfuckers 3/4 of the way up there. There's even a guy up there on the top and you've never climbed a mountain before. Yeah, you're gonna be like, fuck, right? But the way you're gonna climb the mountain is the same way they climb the mountain. One step at a time, okay? And if you can't do one step at a time, then you're gonna have to improve your skill set about moving up the mountain. So I don't buy into this feel-good idealist nonsense about trying to be happy all the time and trying to be in Zen mode and trying to feel peace all the time. Bro, if you're happy all the time and you have peace all the time and you have no frustration, no anxiety, you're not gonna have any drive or ambition either. You're not gonna have any reason to change. You're gonna be sitting on your couch getting the same shit you're getting out. And if that's what you want, cool. but don't pretend like you want more. Don't bitch about why you don't have more. Just accept your life and say, this is what I want, I'm happy here, and you'll be happy. Stop consuming my content. Stop consuming content that wants you to get better, that pushes you to be better, that calls you out on your bullshit. Because all that's gonna do is piss you off and make you unhappy. Unsubscribe, go away, go look at the fucking butterfly pages, and shut the fuck up. That's what needs to happen, okay? Like, just accept where you are. Now, if you're a driven person, I would absolutely be comparing myself to other people. That's just reality. And I don't believe in this fucking shit that all these dudes preach. You know, everybody's in this hurry to feel fucking good. You shouldn't feel good all the time, bro. You should feel good when you're doing the things you know you should be doing. If you don't fucking feel good, it's because you're not doing the shit you should be doing. You shouldn't just accept it and say, oh, well, it is what it is. You know, that's what we deal with in today's society. We deal with a bunch of pussified opinions about peace and harmony and touching the grass and fucking, dude, it's victim culture to the max. And it's like, you wonder why you can't get anywhere. It's because you're soft as you're trying to get something that you can't even get. You think you can feel peaceful all the time and still achieve things? You think you can feel no frustration all the time and still improve your situation? You can't. So let's stop with this bullshit. If you're an ambitious person, you want to change the trajectory of your family tree, you're gonna have frustrating times. You're gonna have angering times. You're gonna have doubtful times. You're gonna have big tests in life. You're gonna have disruption. You're not gonna have peace very often. These are the realities of pursuing a bigger purpose and a bigger mission in your life. And if you want to be what you are now and continue to degrade over the course of your life from here to the end of it, just go fucking do something else. Stop pretending like you want it, because you don't. No, they think this dude got dropped off by a helicopter.
Right.
See that guy 3/4? He only got there because he
had to just take a helicopter.
He jumped.
Right.
He jumped from the bottom to the top because he's lucky to have this skill set. You know what I'm saying? He got lucky. His parents owned a helicopter.
That's what it was.
You know?
Now you need to climb the 30,000 steps.
Yeah, he's LeBron James's kid. He could jump 400 yards. He bounded up the mountain like Bambi. Like, fuck, dude. I don't care what people see. Why the fuck you care what people see? Why you care? It has nothing to do with them. Most of the people you know right now, you're not going to know in 5 years. The difference doesn't fucking make. Who cares what they fucking think? You should be worried about taking that step, and that next step, and that next step. And eventually you'll get halfway up the mountain, and there'll be a whole bunch of other people that are also halfway up the mountain, and those people will become your friends. And all the fuckers that fucking didn't get it, they'll still be at the bottom of the mountain eating fucking Hot Pockets. When you're humble enough to admit that you have made a lot of the same mistakes, and a lot of mistakes in your life, you know, I think as you get older, you start to have more grace for people because you've made all these mistakes. When I was younger, in my 20s, I was very judgmental. When I was in my 30s, I was a little less judgmental. And now I'm less judgmental even then. And it's because it's hypocritical if you have a strong character to judge people for things that you have done yourself or mistakes that you've made or even kind of similar. So I think, you know, that plays into it. I also think what plays into it is the intent. Did the person intend to do this, or was it just a misunderstanding? And I also think the amount of times the person has done it. Have they done this 5 different times? Because if they've done it 5 different times, it's not something that they feel bad about or that's a mistake. It's just what they're doing.
It's a decision.
Yeah, that's right. And dude, you know, like, that's probably best to like separate yourself from someone like that if they're doing something that violates your code of ethics. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of things, but I think more importantly, dude, people struggle with forgiving themselves. I think that's where people really struggle. I don't think it's like giving grace with other people. I think it's with giving grace with yourself. And I had a good conversation with one of my friends about this a few weeks ago. But you know, the way you look at forgiving yourself is if your friend came to you and said, hey man, I did this and this and this and I feel really bad about it and I don't want to do this again, how would you handle it? Most of us, if it was a good friend, would say, well, dude, DJ, that's pretty stupid. You shouldn't have done that shit, bro. But hey, don't do it again, man. It's all right. You know, we'll figure it out. And if you could talk to yourself like that, you know, it's easier to forgive yourself. We tend, especially high achievers, tend to judge themselves much harder than they do everybody else because they hold themselves to a higher standard. So it's very hard for people who are driven, ambitious, who have high standards to forgive themselves when they make mistakes. Because quite honestly, they think they're better than everybody else. All right, and that's what it comes down to. Oh, you're no better than anybody else. I don't know, man. Like, I'm better at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I might not be more valuable as a human being, as a human life. I can agree with that. Like,
you don't rescue turtles on the weekends.
Yeah, but I can tell you this: I'm better than you in pretty much every fucking area. You know what I'm saying? Not you, but I'm just saying. Yeah, in these situations, you know, this whole thing of like these losers coming around, and be like, what do you think? You're better than me? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, like, yes, yeah. Of course. You know, I think, you know, grace comes down to a couple things. You know, I think, you know, you got to understand that you've made mistakes. You got to understand, you know, what the intent was. You got to understand, you know, how frequently is the behavior. You know, there's all kinds of things that play into that, man. And I think, you know, it just depends on the situation. It just does. So when I was in my 20s, I was a savage motherfucker. If someone stepped on my toes, bro, I'd crack their fucking skull.
Yeah.
So like, not literally, well, sometimes, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, bro, that's a different mentality because you don't have the perspective of a lifetime of fuck-ups. You know what I mean? So I just think there's a lot of nuance there. I also think there's a case to be made for karma. Like, when someone does something, you know, that's going to cause a reaction back to them, and you stand in the way of it and absorb that reaction, you're keeping them from learning a lesson that will be valuable to them for the rest of their life. So I think there's something to be said there too. You know, like, we see this a lot with finances, right? Like every family's got that fucking weirdo cousin or irresponsible member of the family who always needs money, right? And because you love them, you give them, you know, $200, $300, $500, $1,000 whenever you can. But the problem with that is that they never learn how to be responsible with their money, and what they actually learn is no different than when you feed a stray cat. They know where to go when they're in a hard situation. And so sometimes you have to say, hey, fuck you, man, get your fucking ass to work. And that's the best lesson that you could give them. You know what I mean?
Love you, but fuck you.
Well, that's real love, dude. Like, real love is saying, hey, you need to get your shit together, bro. I'm not helping you. You need to understand that holding a standard and setting the pace and having people held accountable is perceived as asshole no matter how you do it. Okay? And you could be the kindest person in the world and they're going to be like, what a dick. Okay? So like, bro, it doesn't it's not your delivery that's the problem. It's the fucking people that's the problem, and it's the culture that's the problem. We live in a culture where people do not like to be held accountable. They do not like to live to a standard, and when you point out that they don't live to a standard, they call it abuse or harassment or some sort of crazy shit. We live in the softest fucking society that's ever existed in the human history. These people get food whenever they want it. They don't have to hunt and kill anything. They don't have to fight for anything. They don't even fucking get dirty, dude. They got a hot shower. They got unlimited water. They got fucking 5,000 channels of entertainment. Like, bro, we live in a total weak, pussified society that anytime you try to hold someone accountable, they have a problem with it, okay? So it's not your delivery, dude. And by the way, if your delivery is overly aggressive, fucking people will probably learn not to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't buy into that, bro. Like, people should hear the message, not the delivery. That's how professionals behave. That's how people work. That's how shit gets done. That's how winning teams play. You guys got to understand, dude. Winning is not for everybody. Winning is only for people who can understand what it actually takes. Most people aren't going to understand that. So when you try to hold them to a standard, no matter if you whisper it in their fucking ear, they're not going to fucking hear it right. Okay? So I was told all those same things. You're too aggressive. The way you talk, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like this. Look where we are. You like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like do you like living in a fucking $1 million house, $2 million house? Do you like that? Do you like getting paid what the get paid? Do you like that? You like the car you drive? You like all those things, right? Well then fuck how I deliver the message. That's what I think. Like, when you've been around the block a fucking 100 times, you know that. So you have to be stern. You have to be hard. Now, does that mean you got to walk in the room and be like, fuck all you lazy motherfuckers? No, you don't have to do that. But you do have to be firm in your ability to hold a line. And when people don't fucking toe the line, you got to tell them. And they're not going to like that. Nobody likes being told, hey, man, that's bullshit. Nobody likes that. You know, I used to have to yell and scream to get that point across, but I don't anymore. I just say it, and people fucking get it. You see what I'm saying? It's the intent. That is the key to making your delivery work no matter what it is. Do you intend to make that person better, or are you yelling at them because you want to fucking get something for yourself? Do you want them to win, or are you trying to get you to win? Are you fucking yelling at them because they didn't fucking run hard enough so that you could get your fucking bonus? Or are you yelling at them because you know they're fucking better and they should be doing way better for themselves? The intent matters, and people know the intent, and when you deliver a message, no matter if it's on stage, one-on-one, no matter what, if your intent is correct, and that person knows, like, hey, motherfucker, I care about you. If they know that, you can say anything you want.
However you want.
Whatever you want. And if you're a little too hard, you come back an hour later, you say, hey, I was heated. I didn't mean to deliver it that way, but I meant what the fuck I said. We got to do better. And you know what they'll say every time? No, bro, I got it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So having that intent be correct is the biggest piece to this working. But I can tell you this, even when your intent's right, you're going to run into a lot of people that are straight up pussies, bro. They're just straight up pussies. Yeah. Those people are not going to fit on your team. They're not worth trying to save. You don't want them in your organization. They're going to spread cancer, and that's what it is. And also, I'll say this. You have to be smart with your communication and be understanding of where you are in the fucking hierarchy with how you communicate. You walk into your boss's office and you start doing that shit, you ain't gonna have a job.
You're fired.
Okay? The 48 laws of power, go read law number 1. You never want to outshine your superior. Okay? And that's what that's about. You don't want to come in talking that shit. You got to have respect. You got to deliver it respectfully, because I get a feel. Did that guy say how old he was?
No.
I get a feeling that that guy is not at the top of the food chain, and people are saying you're being an asshole. And if that's the case, you're probably gonna get fired over and over and over again. So it depends on where you are in the hierarchy. However, if I have someone who's in the mid-level or the lower level, and they're just respectful but also hold a standard, that's extremely valuable. Extremely valuable.